I'm taking a look at the Creative Outlier Air. 10.18 miles, 8 minutes, 42 seconds per mile today in some relatively rainy conditions out there in the Creative Outlier Air, a true wireless earbud by Creative. Now, this is a pair of earbuds that falls in the middle range in terms of price, but I definitely think it's one of those earbuds that punches up above its weight class because you're getting a lot of performance for that amount of price. But before I get into my full thoughts on this pair of earbuds, let me go over some disclosures. This pair of earbuds was sent to me by Creative for the purposes of review, but no money has been exchanged. They're not paying me to make this video. Nobody's paying me to make this video. And no one's gonna get a chance to preview my thoughts or have any editorial control of this video, and no one's gonna be able to see it until you guys see it on YouTube. Now, with that out of the way, let's take a look at these earbuds. They have a slide out case design, which I rather like, although for some reason, my fingers just aren't long enough. So whenever I push the back of it to get them open, they don't get open enough. I kind of wish they would just either slide all the way out or I could push them all the way out. Maybe I just need bigger hands. But once you get the earbuds out, they're relatively easy to put in. The earbuds are very light and the fit is very good. And overall, the ergonomics are pretty good. I would say the only thing that's particularly difficult for me about this design is something that has nothing to do, I think, with this pair of earbuds itself, but it has something to do with this genre of earbuds, which is that they still want to have buttons, which I think is important. But I'm almost to the point where earbuds like this, that I wish I just didn't have buttons at all, because trying to interact with them by pushing in on the buttons here is really painful. And for some reason, these are some of the most painful earbuds that I've worked with that have this type of single true wireless earbud design. Because whenever I try to push the buttons, I don't know if the buttons aren't clicky enough or what, but I'm always pressing them extra hard, and that's caused a lot of discomfort and pain in my ear to the point where I just avoided touching the buttons entirely. But that's the biggest downside of these earbuds. The rest is all pretty much very good news. So in terms of the sound quality, I was very happy with the sound quality that I was getting out of these earbuds. They fit into your ear canal relatively snugly without too much suction, which is good because I don't always feel uncomfortable when I have to jam everything in too far. The bass is really good. It's a little bit heavy on the bass, which is something that I personally prefer. The highs were nice and clean. The mid levels on certain types of music I felt like were a little bit on the low end or a little bit muffled, and so that's something that stood out to me from time to time. But for the most part, I felt like the sound was really, really good. The difference between this pair of $80 earbuds and earbuds that are twice its price or more is just in the fullness of the sound. So you're going to get a little bit more fullness in terms of being enveloped in the sound when you're listening to other earbuds. But these are absolutely fantastic. And from a runner's perspective, which is the main viewpoint that I'm bringing to this review, I felt like the earbuds did a really fantastic job. And so I felt like even at speed, even with high winds, the earbuds did sound really great and I was able to hear it. It was plenty loud, but it wasn't loud at the expense of the bass and some of those lower mids. And so I still felt like I was getting really good sound quality. I also commuted in these for a couple of days. I ran in them for a couple of days. I took them out for a 15-mile long run on Saturday. They did absolutely fine. Everything stayed in really well. And the reason why I took these on so many runs before doing this review is I wanted to get them to fall out, which I couldn't get them to fall out, which I think is pretty impressive. Usually earbuds of this style that don't have an ear loop will fall out for me. And granted, it wasn't the hottest of days. I didn't take it inside on a treadmill, which is for me is like the ultimate sweat test. Every earbud of this type will fall out for me if I'm running on a treadmill for about an hour or so, because I just get so sweaty. So I don't fault earbuds like this if they fall out. But I wasn't able to get these to fall out. I didn't take them on the treadmill, but yesterday it did rain, probably at a light to moderate rain, and they still stayed in there pretty good. They're IPX5 rated, so I wasn't worried about running with them in the rain. I did at different points feel like the suction was maybe starting to go a little bit on each of the earbuds during the run, but at no point did they ever fall out, and I didn't have to like take them out, wipe them down, wipe out my ear, and then put them back in, which is what I have to do with a lot of other earbuds in this category. So I feel like the fit and balance is overall really, really well executed. The other nice things about this particular set of earbuds is that the case is USB-C charging, and you do get a couple extra charges out of this battery case, even though it is really, really light and compact. The other thing though that I don't like about these earbuds is that for $80, you give up a lot of the conveniences and other simplicity and ease of use that you get with some of the more expensive variety. So for example, when I put these in the case, I can take them out, I'll put them in the case, they'll automatically turn off, which is nice. But as I'm doing that, I can hear it. It's like saying something, but they're no longer in my ears, so I don't know what it's saying. Similarly, when I put them on, they don't automatically turn on when I take them out of the case, which is fine. I mean, they're kind of on and they aren't, right? So I'll put them in my ears, and these lights here start flashing as soon as you take them out of the case, and they're in. And I think that they're on, but they're not. I have to press this button, which is uncomfortable, to get it to connect. And then it'll tell me connected. And it'll only tell me on one side, and it's always really loud, seemingly no matter what I set the volume to on the earbud. So that's a little bit disorienting, because then I'm like, I didn't hear it say connected on this side. Is this side connected or not? I'm not sure, but once I start playing music, usually both sides of music comes in. So there's lots of like little things like that that are different and work, and the things you just kind of have to get used to with these earbuds. That I think is some of the things that you're giving up when you're bumping down from the $150, $130 price range down to the $80 price range. The other thing that I think is a little bit unusual is the way that you interact with these. I mentioned the buttons, how they're uncomfortable. That's one thing. But the other thing is to increase volume, you hold down and press the button, which is probably the most uncomfortable thing I could do with these. But then as you hold it down, it beeps to let you know it has gone up one level. And it takes a long time for that to happen, too long, I think. But then if you keep holding it down, it will just crank up the sound. So it goes slow, then it jumps up a level, and then if you keep holding it, then it cranks it up. Same thing happens, but if you do it on the left side and hold it down, the volume turns down, and you can adjust the sound that way. So takes a little bit of getting used to, a little bit uncomfortable ergonomically to operate the earbuds in that way. I found myself reaching for the phone most of the time when I was running to change volume rather than using the earbuds. I did use the earbuds to change tracks. If you double tap it, it will change tracks, but because the buttons aren't like the right kind of clicky, or maybe I keep hitting them wrong, so there's something going on with me and the muscle memory, I found myself either pausing the music or triple tapping it or doing anything except advancing the track, so I had a little bit of a hard time with that. The other thing that I had a little bit of difficulty with was with the Bluetooth connection. It would flutter on my left ear when I had it in my run commute backpack. So as I'm run commuting, there's usually a side pocket in my backpack on the right where I put the phone, and that pretty much is the most rigorous test or interference test that I could put these earbuds through, or any earbuds through, is because then I'm listening to the left earbud through literally all of my body as interference, direct interference, because it's basically on my right hip and then coming to my left ear. And when I have it in that position, this thing flutters like crazy. The nice thing is, and the difference between other earbuds in this price range that I've had flutter with before, is that when it flutters, it doesn't pause the music. Other earbuds will do that. This one, it'll just go in and out. So it's not as frustrating when the flutter happens. The good news is though, when I move that phone to my left pocket, which is unusual for me, that's not where I normally put it, but when I put it in my left side pocket on my running backpack, the flutter goes away. It doesn't seem to happen in the right earbud. I don't know why. The right one is the dominant one, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. So the flutter can go away, so it's easily fixable by putting it just on a different pocket, so that was okay, and that worked out really well. While commuting, I never ran into the problem because usually the phone's in my pocket or in my jacket pocket when I'm commuting, or more likely in my hand. So I never had any problems with flutter or anything like that in just regular commuting use. And the question I'm always going to get from you guys, even though this is a runner's review of a set of earbuds, is how's the audio lag when watching YouTube videos? And there is a little bit, which I would expect with pretty much any Bluetooth earbud, but it's not really noticeable. It's better, I would say, than most. And some other things that I had some difficulty with in terms of dealing with these earbuds are some of the similar complaints that I have with other earbuds in this category, especially when you compare them to the much more expensive counterparts, is the pairing isn't as easy. There are two separate earbuds that have to pair to each other first, and then you pair them to your phone. If you accidentally pair the wrong one to the phone at the beginning, then it'll mess things up and you have to reset them. And there is a way to reset them by putting them in the case and holding both buttons or something like that. But that's something that happens in every earbud in this price range. So if that happens and you're only getting audio in one, even though you have both of them in, reset them, and then go through the process again. I think that if I just kind of taken them out of the box and tried to pair them without looking at the instructions, I would have been fine. But I tried to follow the instructions that were included in the box to make sure it went as smoothly as possible. And I think that's where I got messed up. So I did have to do not a reset, but I had to try a couple times to get them to pair correctly to each other and then to the phone, and able to get that to work. But that's not the first time I've run into that kind of situation. Other than that, for the price point, $80, it is a lot of money to pay for a pair of earbuds, especially when you can get a lot of stuff out there for $20 or $30. But I think that the trade-offs that you're getting is the sound on this is substantially better than the $20 varieties, and the gap between the sound in an $80 pair of earbuds and $150 earbuds is narrowing substantially. And so this is a pair of earbuds that I was quite surprised with. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I do. And if you're looking for a pair of earbuds in this price range, I think this is one that's definitely worth your consideration. So that's all I have for the Creative Outlier Air earbuds. Before I go, I want to remind you about the Charity Runner of the Week. Every week we spotlight a different runner who's raising money for charity as they prepare for a race. And this week it was Vasil Ganchev, who ran the Edinburgh Marathon and raised money for Macmillan Cancer Support. I donated $70 to his fundraising efforts, and I'll post links in the description in case you'd like to learn more. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yo, what's going on?